Welcome to a full tour of my Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Hyrule Castle Town. This is something I've been working on for 6 years, and I've wanted to build this ever since I played this game on the N64 back in 1998 upon its release. This is my favorite game of all time. Also, this is my favorite Zelda world of all, and furthermore, my favorite fictional world period. I'm a lifelong Zelda and Lego mega fan, and I've been designing my own little Zelda build since I was 5. This is a lifelong dream of mine to build this world and to share it. This is the first of many videos. I know this video is not short, but that's just how massive this town is. And so, I'm afraid without any ado whatsoever, here it is, one of my own, born of my wishful adolescence, and here, before you now, my own creation, Lego Hyrule Castle Town. First, we have the Drawbridge Supply House. Here is the knight that greets you when you first come into Hyrule Castle Town. Up here we have a lookout knight with a telescope on the front wall. Over here we have a working drawbridge. Some hatches for surprise archers to protect the town. This knight is protecting this supply house, which is housing crates and pots and weapons. In this box we have a Skulltula, and in all the pots we have rupees. And this knight is the one that tells you that he's very bored in the game, and he wishes there were more troubles in the world. This is the boot cobbler. Here's his little boot sign. This is Haruku, seen here, working on a pair of boots. Here's some boots for sale, and some shoes underneath. Some tools in the back that he uses to construct these boots, and some more boots for sale right here. And in my town, every villager who has a profession, their second floor is their residence. These are the 2 beds, the little one for his grandson, a fireplace, a wardrobe, and a table and chair. This is the locksmith with the sign, the lock and key. This is Guri Roku, gray lock in Japanese. Here's the keys for sale, chains, chain up doors. He's actually sawing a key right now. We have here a bunch of locks of all kinds, big and small. Some of these used for boss doors. He's morally dubious. He sells to everybody, including villains, which is why he's paranoid. In the back he has a forge with tools and an anvil so he can forge his metal keys. Second floor, he's got this really chained up treasure chest and a desk. He's got the chest of drawers, all of which have locks on the individual drawers. We have a trapdoor coming from the first floor. In keeping with his paranoia, here's his fireplace and his book of all his different accounts. His pen on his desk, and a nightstand with a candle and a wine glass on it. Here we have the surgeon, and on his sign he has a heart, a bone, and a tooth, because medieval doctors had to do everything. Here is his wife, his nurse, who works with him. This is Dr. Hone, which is Japanese for bone. You can see him analyzing this skeleton. Here is his book of appointments, his pen, his scissors, his mallet for testing reflexes, his periscope for looking in your ear, this bowl of mysterious red liquid, I won't say what it is. Here we have this red health potion on top of this medieval back-stretching table. Over here we have a bellows for lungs, and there's his window for appointments. Back here is daughter Pamela. Second floor, the residence. Here's a bottle of Lon Lon milk for his growing child, Pamela. Here's her bed and her teddy bear, and here's the fireplace and the rug. Chest of drawers right here, and here's her little horsey toy and their wardrobe. Up next, we have the town seamstress. Here's her address sign on the front of the building. Right here, we have her employee making a dress on this table right here, stitching it together from the sewing machine. Over here is Nuna, owner of the shop. She's currently working on a wedding dress. Here's her pen for taking orders. Here's a mirror to look at yourself in the dress or tunic that you purchase. Here is every color fabric known to Lego. Right here is the wedding dress she's working on with the needle and scissors, trying to make finishing touches for an upcoming wedding. Back here is where she dyes all of her fabrics, the different colors. In these bowls and these buckets, she mixes the colors and creates all her different color fabrics. Second floor, we have her comforter, her rug, her drapes. Everything is made by her because she is a master at her craft. Here is a very oversized wardrobe and her chest of drawers. She's the town fashionista, so she needs plenty of options. Here are her drapes. And she has a wine glass next to her bed. Very stressful job. She unwinds when she gets upstairs to go to bed. Here we have a fireplace with all the cooking apparel. And last of all, her very important bottle of perfume. Here's the town post office. Up here we have an envelope. Above that we have the postman symbol, the bunny. Here is the cubby holes for every resident of Hyrule Castle Town. Here's the employee door and a chalkboard. We have the ingoing and the outgoing windows. The blue is for outgoing mail and the red stamp is for incoming mail. We have his clock for being on time and his compass so we can navigate well. We have a map of Hyrule so he can keep track of where he's going. His sack of mail that's yet to be delivered and his incoming mail right here. And most importantly, his delivery schedule. Here we have Link's house. Modeled after a Link to the Past version of Link's house. His parents are originally from this town, so he has reclaimed his parents' home and now resides there. To the northwest of his house is an apple tree where he harvests apples and sells them in the market. Over here is Bagu, the bug-catching kid who's catching a bee, and he has a bottle full of bees. And this house is Link's father's house, who was a knight. There's the coat of arms. Here we have the great fairy bow and the boomerang. The gilded sword from Majora's Mask. A bomb bag. A lantern, the hero's shield. The big orange sword. We have 4 bottles here, one with a fairy, milk, red and green potions, food ingredients, his father's coat of arms, Zelda's letter, and the Zora flippers in this chest. Over here we have the cape and the hookshot. Over here we have a gold Skulltula making a web. And here we have the Royal Tavern. In the back, we have all the crates of food and wine and milk, and there's an empty milk bottle right here. Bunch of boxes, and there's a guy eating a bag of beans. Kegs of beer. There's a rat and some barrels, and here's the front sign with a toasting flagon and goblet and promises live music. Inside, we have the second floor lifts up with the chandelier. First floor behind the bar, we have Telma serving drinks. Top shelf, we have Lon Lon Milk, Chateau Romani, Monster Elixir, Red Potion, Apple Cider, and Green Potion. On the bottom shelves, we had standard liquor like whiskey, curacao, vodka. Over here, we have wine glasses. Here's a sink to wash in. Behind Telma are 2 beer kegs on tap, Royal Brew and Sheikah Stout. Right here, delivering drinks, is co-owner of the bar with Telma, her husband, Salhasrala. The old man sitting at the bar is eating pea soup. Over here in the fireplace is another pot of pea soup being cooked. The town kitty cat, Louise, who's supposed to be cleaning up the rat population, but, well, here we have a tea kettle and teacups, bowl of carrot soup. Right here we have a soldier having a turkey leg and a whole meal. On this shelf are all the trophies won at the jousting tournaments by the tavern's owner. Here is that promised live music, flute and bongo. That pea soup is almost ready. Over here we have a better look at the bottom shelf liqueurs. And like many adventurer taverns, there is an upstairs where you can either gamble or stay the night in one of the many rooms. Here is an abandoned card game on this table. And here's a lady throwing darts. Looks like her date has left her behind. Here are the 3 rooms. And here's a knight staying in this room. He's had a long journey, so he's hung his shield. And he's calling it a night. No pun intended. This is the treasure box game. Have a mailbox back here. Gargoyle statue. Here's the treasure box sign. So, in this treasure box game, you pay here, and then you go in each room, and you have to pick the right chest blindly. If you get the key, you go through this door to the next one. If you don't get the key, oh, I got the key, then you just get the color rupee of the room that you're in. Green is for 1 value rupee, blue for 5, and red for 20. Oh, got the key again. Here we go. Oh, got the key again. On a roll now, feeling lucky. Oh, I got a blue rupee, so I lost. Let's just see what would have happened. If I go into the next room, keys on the left, red rupee on the right. If I would have gotten that key and went through this door, would have gotten into the gold room. And in the gold chest is a heart piece. Second floor is the pirates' hideout. The pirates are seen here gambling and drinking. Got a pot of rupees and rupees all over the table. 3 of the guys are really upset because one of them had 4 aces, which is extremely unlikely. Almost too unlikely, like he cheated. In this room we have a treasure chest and a treasure map and a pickaxe and a shovel for treasure seeking. Here we have a net for fishing and a pirate flag and another treasure chest. Here we have another treasure chest, a chain, a hook for all kinds of schemes, a crossbow and a machete. And here is just the assassin's room. All he does is one thing. Here we have the flag to warn intruders. Stay out. Here we have the Bombchu Shop. He sells Bombchu, which are wind-up bombs, the powder keg. And here we have regular bombs on the first shelf. He actually makes smoothies here too. You can sit and enjoy your smoothie in this little table and chairs. There's a little Bombchu sign. On the second floor, we just have a regular old apartment, treasure chest and book sack, and a little bottle of wine. This is Mamamu Yan's house, the lady in the market square who has her best in show dog Richard. Here's a painting of him right here. Got some doggy treats on the first shelf. Second shelf, she has some slippers. Underneath that, she has a water bowl for Richard. On the table, a candle, a wine glass, and some cherries. Richard's ball and a chest of drawers. Her wardrobe, with on top, she has some teacups and a tea kettle and some nice couch, a chalice. She's got a little pot with a bone in it for Richard. Right outside, we have Mamamu Yan's little garden. And here we have the laundry pool where villagers bring their clothing to be washed in here. There's a little bell that you can ring to let people know that you're done. Take these stairs up to Honey and Darling's house. The bed frame is shaped like a heart, and the chairs are shaped like hearts because they are the town sweethearts. Here are their chest of drawers and their fireplace. Here's Hyrule Bakery Shop, right next to the Starry Night Inn. See the bread sign here for the bakery, and here is the inn's sign with the moon. Behind the bakery, we have a crate of bread and some other barrels of supplies. An old baker's trick is to let the smell of your bread waft out the chimney throughout the neighborhood. Here are the two bakers. They are a couple that own the bakery. There's a chef Tort. Up here we have a bunch of fruits to be used in pies and various pastries. Here is Chef Pita pouring some Lon milk in a bowl to make some batter for a cake. Here is the wall of cooking utensils behind Chef Tort. Right here is the recipe book and their pen, their counter. Here's the fruit again that they use in their pastries. Behind Chef Pita is a rack of eggs. And then right here we have croissant and baguette. And underneath we have a pie with cupcakes, cookies, other little pastry treats. Their second floor loft, they have their hometown flag hanging above their fireplace. They have their chest of drawers, their nightstand with a candle, their bed, table and chairs, and their lovely curtains. This is the Starry Nights Inn. Right here we have the couch you can wait on if your room's not ready. Some nice curtains. This is the hotel clerk who has her sign-in book for all the list of guests and a little lily in front. These are the room keys she gives guests. This is the clock that tells you what time check-in, check-out time is. If you're early, you sit on this couch and wait till your room's ready. And in the back over here, we have a whole full-service kitchen. We have a salad being prepared right here and a stack of plates to be washed in this sink. We have some wine glasses up here on this food cabinet. We have a spice rack right here, a bunch of forks and knives and a broom. Some wine glasses on the stove. We have split pea soup being made. and an empty pot next to it. Have some split pea soup in the owner's bedroom. There's a table and chairs, spoon and candle. They have the bed right here. On the other side, we have their treasure chest for all their money. Depending on what room you pick, and of course how much you spend, you get your key for your individual room. You go upstairs to one of 4 different rooms. First one is the forest room, which sleeps 4 right in here. And there's a painting outside of a tree, kind of like a forest. Over here's the mountain room with a painting of a volcano and kind of like a red and orange and brown kind of earthy theme. Over here we have the desert room with a painting of a desert. Have a little cactus instead of a flower like the rest of the rooms. Each room has a nightstand with a candle and a place to hang your cloak. And then on the 3rd floor, we have the ocean room, which obviously has a lot of turquoise and blue colors. And right here we have a painting of an ocean sunset. And it's the most expensive room because you get the best view. Come out of this door from the stairs and you can come eat at their full-service restaurant on the top deck here. And hopefully it's not raining. Up next, we have the Dwarven Swordsmiths. We have the anvil and hammer sign. There's a lot of boxes and crates and barrels all over the back alley. First, we have the twin Dwarven Swordsmiths shop. We have a big old forge where they forge swords. Here's some helmets they made. And over here is some knight's armor. And some gold dust they use to make golden swords. Here are some shields they made, and a myriad of swords that they forged. This one's my favorite. This is the Razor Sword from Majora's Mask. We have a red-bladed Master Sword replica. We have these large two-handed swords, and we also have one-handed swords. After the sword is taken out of the forge, it is hammered on this anvil, and then it's put in this liquid to be quenched to cool down. And now the second floor where the dwarves live. Here's their little twin beds. Here's the little figurines that they collected, a little wardrobe. Their table and chairs with teacups, their fireplace, and a giant sword they made in their room. Here is a villager who likes to stand in this part of the back alley. This is the Master Swordsman's School. And here's the Master Swordsman himself, Juton Shonin. Here's the gong he rings to begin and end matches. His trophy from winning a sword fighting tournament. His katana that he won it with. Here's his newest student, very reminiscent of the bride from Kill Bill. Over here we have a weapons rack with weapons and protective gear. Here are 2 armored practice dummies, and here's the urn of his previous master. Second floor, this is Loft. He has a weapons rack. This is his bed, his wardrobe, his treasure chest right here. He has a bunch of swords on the wall and a bamboo plant to remind him of home, and a letter, an invitation to a tournament, a shuriken, and a container of whiskey. Like most warriors, he fights hard, but he also appreciates time of rest. And he's got a goblet. Here's his wooden dummy, where he practices hand-to-hand combat. and his golden sigh. This is the shooting gallery. Here's the sign, Hyrulean text. Here's a laundry clothesline hanging. These are the stairs to lead to the second floor loft for the Huntsman who runs the game. Here's the entrance to the crossbow target practice. And here is a visiting warrior who's here for the jousting tournament. Here's the shooting gallery, the Huntsman who runs it. There's his treasure chest and the bow and arrow that you use to play the game. He has a lot of trophies on the wall from animals he's hunted, because he is a huntsman. Elk, he has a Lizalfos, a deer, a moose. These are deer antlers, and this is the Huntsman right here. His prized hunting knife right here on the wall. Over here we have the backdrop of the desert with a little cactus in the background. And you can use these switches to activate the shooting gallery targets. Here's the green rupee switch. Here's the blue rupee switches that come from each side. And then at the top, there's a knob to move the red rupee targets back and forth. Here is the Huntsman's loft on the second floor. Over here we have his spear, and on the fireplace we have his prize bow and foxtails from foxes he hunted, his lantern on the table. Here are his prized knives and aracuda wings from an aracuda he hunted. A mountain goat skull. A bearskin rug that his hunting dog is sitting on. He has a horn for hunting that he got. There's his dog's ball that he plays with. This is his butcher table where he chops the meat that he eats or sells. Over here is his hunting journal, this little pen, and a telescope. And lastly, his dog's water bowl and bed. This is the Bombchu bowling alley. The song you're hearing is being played on this jukebox right here. These are all posters on the wall advertising the game. All custom-made stickers that I printed out. Here's Gemma Dotor, who runs the game. Little potted plant. There's Bombchu right here. You wind up a Bombchu, you let it go and try to get around obstacles to hit these targets. Second obstacle is a cuckoo. And the third obstacle is a cuckoo, an even larger one. Cuckoo is just Hyrulean for chicken. When you hit all three targets, you get a prize depending on which one was selected randomly before you begin the game. From right to left is a purple rupee, a heart piece, a Bombchu, a bomb bag, and a bomb. This door right here is the entrance to the upstairs apartments. First apartment is the writer's apartment. He has a little ink bottle and a book. He's currently not here right now. He's actually at the library writing some manuscripts and doing some research. Here's the candle maker's apartment. She is currently making a candle on this bowl right here. Has some already ready on the side. And there is a portrait of her right there made by her next door neighbor who she has a crush on. This is the painter's apartment. Take this out the way. Right here you can see the three goddesses in this painting. Right here is a bowl of fruit. He's currently painting a portrait of Zelda. Behind him are his paints on this shelf. And holding this palette and paintbrush is Brad, the painter. Here is the Happy Mask Shop. This is Hyrulean for Happy Mask Shop. For a better view, let me take off the front real quick. We have the Happy Mask Salesman and his Keaton mask, Bunny Hood, Goron mask, and Zora mask. Here's the Spooky mask, the Skull mask, Gerudo mask, and the Mask of Truth. Over here we have in front more masks for sale, as well as on this shelf over here. Here on the second floor, his loft, we have the piano he plays the Song of Healing on. Here's his travel hiking pack with all the masks on it, including the Mario mask and all the other masks from the game. His carpet, chair, and bed all have the same color scheme. Here we have Majora's Mask, and we have a letter from the king, and a bottle of magic potion, and his golden chalice. Here is the potion shop. On top is the potion shop owner's loft, his bed, and his chest of drawers. For sale on these shelves, he has a bug, a fish in a bowl, a pose soul next to a deku nut. Over here is a blue flame, a fairy in a bottle, magic potion, and health potion. And here's 2 bottles of magic potion. Here's his cauldron, his fireplace, ferns and other flowers, his bookshelf of books with potion recipes in them, and here's a monk who's visiting him. And as a true herbalist, behind his shop are all these plants and flowers that he uses to harvest ingredients for all his potions. Right here is his prized orchid, and next to it is a silent princess from Breath of the Wild, and some roses. And here's a rat. Next is the Bazaar. And for sale we have arrows, a heart piece, the Hyrulean shield. We have bombs, deku nuts. Over here we have a helmet for sale, another type of shield, axe, weapons, bombs. A Goron is here selling bombs. We have a shield and some spears and boxes and crates and all kinds of stuff. And here's the shopkeeper who lives upstairs. Second floor loft. He has a desk, a chair, his lantern, his chest of drawers, his bed. Very simple little living space. And the third floor is where he keeps his treasure chest of rupees. This is the village pottery and bottle shop. And this is the end of the walkway for the town, the Hyrulean crest here, because after here is the park leading to the castle. And inside we have all the different pottery. Right here, the shop owner is cleaning up a broken pot. That fell from this shelf right here. And here are all the pots for sale and the vases here. And over here on this potter's wheel is a new pot being made. And here's all the glassware and blown glass bottles and containers and different types of figurines, all made from glass blowing. Here's the kiln. And here are the curtains. Here's the potter's sign. And here's the potter's loft. The potter's son is Bagu, the bug-catching kid. Here's his bed. Here's the potter and his wife's bed. There's their fireplace and table and chairs. And there's a bunch of bottles of milk and other containers and pottery that they made themselves. And here's a bottle of water. This is the Hyrulean Library. Here's the sign. It's a book. And here we have a bunch of shelves of books. Shaz doing some manuscript writing and some research. And here we have Professor Modora, and he is also doing some research. There's a ladder to get to the higher books on the shelves. Shh! Keep your voice down. This is a library.
The professor is using a magnifying glass so he can read this old ancient manuscript. That's the library.
Finally, we have the Temple of Time. In the front pawns, we have lily pads. And then over here, we have a pair of bunnies, 4 Sheikah stones, the gate to the mayor's residence, which fits right here. And there's a clock on the front of the temple. And inside, here's Rauru and a bunch of candles, brick-built door. And inside the temple, and up here are the chandeliers with candles in them, the 3 spiritual stones, and when they are placed here, this Triforce symbol glows like this. And the door of time opens, allowing you into the Temple of Light. And this is where the mighty Master Sword sits in its pedestal in the middle of this platform. And lastly, here's the mayor's office. Here we have Mayor Dutour's son, Cafe, the mayor's receptionist. Here's a painting of Mayor Dutour and his wife, Madame Aroma. Here we have Captain Vincent holding a conference with the mayor himself, Mayor Dutour. The mayor has different color ink bottles on his desk, blue for yes and red for veto. Here's a map of Hyrule for him to reference. Here's a bookshelf with all his books. And upstairs is the mayor's residence, Madame Aroma, the mayor's wife. On their bed is their little puppy. Here's their golden chalice and their chest of drawers. Here is their table with Chateau Romani and another painting of the mayor and his wife. Here is Madame Dutour's vanity. She has a bottle of whiskey and perfume. And here is the mayor's coat of arms. And here we have the market square. Right here we have the 2 guys who are always laughing and juggling. Here's a gold scatola in the tree. This is Seikon, the thief. Here is the old lady who brings the bombs to the bomb shop. This guy likes to climb up here and look out. Professor Shikashi, some more villagers. Here is Honey and Darling who like to spin around. This is Mamamu Yan and her dog Richard. She has a stick and a little doggy treat. She's trying to train him. Here's the little girl that loves chasing cuckoos. This guy makes boomerangs and sells them in the market. Here's the postman delivering a letter. Under the blue tarp is where you buy vegetables and fruits. Here are cabbages, lettuce, cherries, carrots, tomatoes, and apples, and milk and cookies. Not everything here is healthy. Lon Lon milk, custom printed label. And under the red tarp is being sold eggs, bread, croissants, fish, and cheese. Here is the fountain centerpiece, the royal crest of the Hyrulean family on top of the fountain. Next, we have the town fruit garden. Starting with the cherry trees, watering cans, strawberry plants, oranges are being harvested from this tree, tomato plants, and last of all, grapevines. Here are some grapes being mashed up in this bucket to make wine. And here is the town vegetable garden. Potatoes, carrots, radishes, turnips. Here's a little mushroom, lettuce, and cabbage. And this is Cello the Scarecrow. This is an enormous hardy radish. And finally, we come to the Joust Tiltyard. We have many factions competing in this tournament this year. This first faction is the Snow Peak Knights, who hail from A very cold climate, as you can tell by their clothing. This is a squire holding a lance. Here are the Black Falcon Knights. This one's carrying an actual falcon. These are the Knights of Volvagia. They worship a red dragon in the volcano. These are the Holodrum Raven Knights with the Rod of Seasons. Here we have a mysterious warrior who traveled here just for the sword fighting tournament. These are all the peasants enjoying their snacks that they bought at the concession stand. Here is a Twilight warrior. Here is Johnny Sumatra. He is the food vendor here. And back here on a spit, he has some turkey legs roasting. And on this side, Evangeline is selling beer. She's selling Royal Brew and Chica Stout. On the other side of the arena, right here we have the Bat Knights, known around the world infamously as the Fright Knights, led by Basil, the Bat Lord. They are all vampires. These are the Mountain Dwarf Warriors. And these are the Undead Stalfo Knights, all perished in the Lost Woods. Now skeletons, all they know is war, so here they are, competing in this tournament. And here are all the factions' tents, week-long tournament, and sitting in this very prestigious box are my lords, my ladies, the nobles. Down here we have the King's Royal Guard, and here we have an archery contest. Here's the current match. And last of all is the King's Royal Box. Here, 2 archers guard the king. Down here is Prince Rome, the Joust, Archery, Melee, and overall tournament champion trophies. Here's a Falconer. And most importantly, here is the King of Hyrule, sitting in his royal box. And he has the royal crest on his chest. Thank you for watching and joining me on this tour of a build 6 years in the making. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to share this with you, so I hope you enjoyed watching. Please subscribe to see more videos like this one. Please also give this video a like and comment any suggestions of future content you'd like to see. Until next time, keep building.
You